and good night to some of you. This is a very special broadcast, and of course, we must pray. And prayer we must, this very evening and always going forward. And I will pray in the language of heaven, because Chukwukika Abiyama is in control of all that we have been doing and will continue to do until Biafra is restored and all the suffering indigenous populations in the damnable zoological republic are set free. Chineke na nke pụrụ ihe niile Chukwukika Abiyama onye na-efe na aja ha nsọ ya mma mgbe niile. Onye ọbụla na ya na-achị eluigwe n'ụwa na-agba akaebe ịhụnanya gị na ebere gị amara gị n'ọmịiko gị ebe ndị gị na-eze ebede ngọzi. Anyị wee na-etoghị agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro iwe nye anyị ndụ ala nke dị ndụ n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-asị na ịja mma niile otu niile dịrị aha nsọ gị. Onye ọ bụ naanị aka ike niile na ọ gbadara aka ya. Anyị wee na-akpọku gị na-asị gị na nke ọma anyị ga-ekele gị, nke ọjọọ ma anyị kelee gị. Anyị wee na-aja gị mma, wee na-eto gị, wee na-asọpụrụ gị n'isi ụmụ gị niile bụ ndị ikwu ndị wee eziokwu mgbe a kpọrọ ha ka ha wee chekwaa ala nsọ gị bụ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na ihe n'ikwuru anyị nkwa na o mekataghị ka ndị iro wee were ala nsọ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe. Agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro ma ndị na-agba mgbọgba ebe niile dị iche iche onye nwe m na Chineke nna ihere bụ nke ndị dị etu a n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-eto gị, wee na-asị onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ m ihe niile, onye ọ bụ naanị ya na-azọpụta, onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na ọtụtụ na ịja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise, ise, ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're connected from around the world. If you're joining me from Africa, Asia, Europe, America, I thank you very much for your contribution. Please go to the comment section at all times. Leave your comment and share the video to every platform. Let those who need to hear our voice hear our voice. We will not allow them to change the narrative. You can play your own role by sharing the video. You can equally use your own platform. No matter how small or how big your platform is, use it to speak up about the plight of the people in the contraption called Nigeria. It doesn't matter your tribe, it doesn't matter your religion. Talk about what is happening in your area so that people will know what is going on. So that the world will know what is going on in that country called Nigeria. You know that the media is playing everything down. Media is helping the government to suppress every information that is coming out. They can never say it the way it is because they are scared. The government have been able to capture the media and make sure they dance to their tune. That is exactly what they are doing. That is why it is necessary that we come online on a daily basis to change the narrative of what they are saying, to speak up the way things are, to say the real truth and nothing but the truth. That is what we are doing. You know, the insecurity in Nigeria is growing more and more. It is not getting lesser. It is not getting better any soon. This insecurity is getting worse, and it will get worse as they go by. If you think it is a joke, call home, make your inquiry, make investigation. You can see that it's still happening. The killings are still happening as I speak to you. A lot of villages have been taken over in the northern part of Nigeria. They have taken over so many villages that people can no longer do anything. Boko Haram, as we speak, have captured so many villages in the north, and the government seems not to bother about it. Instead, they are concentrating on the south. Boko Haram is running like a wildfire in the northern part of Nigeria. They are running like wildfire in the northern part of Nigeria. But even when their president came to make a speech, he never mentioned anything about Boko Haram. The Boko Haram that is the major problem they have in Nigeria, the herdsmen, killer herdsmen, the bandits, he never mentioned them, he never talked about it. He was busy threatening those who are asking for self-determination. That is why Nigeria is dead on arrival. Nigeria is a failed state. It has already become worse than Somalia. Just like when Mazinani called Nigeria a zoo. Nigeria, Mazinani Kanu gave them a nice name, zoo. Zoo is much more organized than Nigeria of today. Zoo is much more organized. That is where we have found ourselves. And we continue to say it the way it is. We will not keep silent. We won't keep silent. They have killed a lot of people in Jos, Plateau State. Most of the Christian villages in Kaduna State have been wiped out. They wipe them away and they bring their Fulanis from outside the country. They relocate them in that area, they take over the land, and the people will go in IDP camp. This has been happening. The government seems not to be. Have you ever heard that people in IDP camp returned to their homes? These are people who are telling us that Boko Haram have surrendered, that Boko Haram have repented. Have you ever heard that people who have left their village to IDP camp have returned back home? There has never been anything like that. That is to show you that they are not willing to stop the insecurity. Instead, they are supporting the insecurity. And the most important thing to them is to make sure they export that insecurity to the southern part of Nigeria. That is why every Southern have to wake up. You have to wake up. It doesn't matter your tribe. It doesn't matter where you belong. It doesn't matter whom you think you are. It doesn't matter how connected you think you are. You have to speak up. The time is now for us to have our freedom. The time is now for self-determination, for referendum to be conducted so that people can go their separate ways and write a constitution that is going to favor them. That is the right thing to do. Apart from that, Nigeria is already a failed state. It will continue rolling you back. The more you continue to call yourself a one Nigerian, it will continue to roll you back until when they take your life. So the best thing to do now is to wake up, speak up, and do the right thing. The more you speak up and do the right thing, the more safe you become. The more you become silent and complicit, the more they kill you. They will definitely come after you. They are coming. It's not even they are coming. They are there already. They are there. You can see what is happening in Benue State. They are still killing in Benue State up to today. They are killing in Plateau State up to today. Helplessly, schools have been closed in the northern part of Nigeria. And they are planning by all means possible to make sure that they export this insecurity to the southern part of Nigeria. That's why Southerners have to unite. Unite, wake up, speak up, and do the right thing. The man you have in Asorock is not there for you. He's not even the man you voted into power. The man in Asorock is not the man you voted. If you think he's the man you voted, you might be deceiving yourself. He's not the man you voted into power. It doesn't matter. He can parade himself to anywhere he likes to go to United Nations, whatever. We know that these people, they can accept anything you bring to them as your president. Even if you bring the lizard to represent you in United Nations, they're going to take it. But we know the person who is parading himself as a Buhari in Asorock is not the man who voted in. It's not the man that was voted in, because I didn't vote for him. I never did. Many Biafrans didn't vote for him. But for those who voted, check very well, is that the man you voted in 2015? Is that the man you voted in? Of course, he is not the person you voted in. But you cannot be able to speak up. You can't say it the way it is. Only Biafrans do. We can say it the way it is without looking at anybody. We say exactly the truth and nothing but the truth. We continue to reveal it. No matter how difficult or how hard it is, we continue to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. And today, I want to share with you another video. One of the statesmen who we respect so much. A statesman who has really been saying the truth and saying it the way it is. I want you to listen to the video from the beginning to the end. He is going to tell us more about the man Buhari, who Buhari is. Some of you don't know who he is. Maybe after watching this video, you will know where you are, that you are in a place where you're not supposed to be. You are being ruled by a clueless man, a dead man. That's the person that is living is ruling you. Let us watch the video carefully from beginning to the end. Let's watch.
Trending issues. Today we have Chief Ayodele Adebanjo, the leader of Yoruba Socio-Cultural Group, Afenifere.
Socio-political
Group, Afenifere. Chief Adebanjo is also an associate, or he was an associate of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. We thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure.
Of course, as usual, this entire episode is going live on our Facebook page. And after the program, you can go back, visit, share, and like. Chief Adebanjo, at 93, how do you feel about today's independence? Nigeria at 61.
Well, at 93 today, I'm a very unhappy man. When I bring my mind back to how we fought for independence and what we had until the military incursion. We had a problem before independence, which was peacefully solved. All the areas of fiction, we settled them at London Constitutional Conference in 1954 and settled for federalism.
We settle for how we are going to be sharing our revenue. Education of state police, local government, everything that is consistent with principle of federalism was settled because we are a multinational, multilingual, and multi-religious society. And that's the only way we can live together in peace. After a series of conflict before independence. And that was made clear at the London Constitutional Conference led by Los Angeles, the then colonial secretary, after the collapse of the Mafasa Constitution. It was agreed to by Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Sardana Oshokoto, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafawa Balewa, Bonu Ejike, Osuba Mbadiwe, and all the prominent political leaders at the First Republic. Henceforth, we are living in peace until the military incursion in 1966. They set aside the condition of agreement to live together in Nigeria, suspended the constitution, and brought in a unity form of government, a unity constitution, which is the bane of our backwardness and friction and instability since then. And I have not recovered ever since. So those of you who grew within the period of the military, you cannot imagine what we had before the military incursion. So they are pro-ethnic, pro-Fulani terms that they put into that constitution at the expense of the South and the Middle Belt. And that is what is causing our backwardness, lack of development, insecurity, and lack of progress. Once there is no stability, there can be no peace. When there is no peace, there can be no progress. That is summary.
How can you remember how you felt on October 1, 1960? Where were you exactly on that day? And how
I was still a student in London. Oh no, okay. We came in for independence celebration. As secretary of the London branch of the Action Group, the ruling party in the Western region at that time. Officers of the party and other political parties in London were sponsored home by the Action Group government to come and celebrate independence. So I was in Nigeria. And it was while I was in Nigeria here that I had my daughter, who is now 61.
Your daughter is now 61. Wow. All right. So earlier in your speech, you said Nigeria veered off the path of success in 1966 during the first military coup.
Yeah.
But from what I've read, I'm a young boy anyway, young man. But from what I read, 1964, 1963, you had political crisis as well, which led to the wet-year crisis as well.
That was what led to all that. You can have political crisis under any system. Is Britain not have a crisis now with the Scottish people? That is normal. But not to the extent of suspending the constitution. We judge, we didn't kill ourselves. We didn't kidnap. We didn't murder. It's typical thing in any democracy. See, today, they throw a bomb to the Prime Minister in Britain. It doesn't mean anything. It's all the tenets of democracy. It is in Nigeria that any right to protest is taken as criminal. Just as Buhari is saying secession is criminal. It's a constitutional right. He has exposed us to the whole world as a backward nation. Because he is enlightening himself. He's not educated and doesn't want to be educated. Everything that is consistent with constitutional democracy, he flouts. with impunity, making the whole country a sort of people just regard us as well. It seems Nigeria is in a world of our own. All international law and rule is defied. He wouldn't obey the rule of law. He will decide anything about the court decision. So all the things that is not consistent with modern democracy practice, Buhari does with impunity.
Earlier on, Chief Adebanjo, you spoke about secession and the right to protest and all that. 10 years, exactly, 6 years, 7 years after the Nigeria attained independence, the country was plunged into a civil war, which lasted till about 1970. So from 1970 till now, that's like 51 years. 51 years now. Why are we still having protests for people that want to break up Nigeria? I mean, the president said today in his speech that the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable.
That is talking nonsense. That's part of the thing that is causing trouble. How can the president of a multinational, multilingual, multi-ethnic society say the unity is non-negotiable? We negotiated the unity of Nigeria in 1962, 1966, and 1954, before independence. 1964, 1960 Constitution is a product of negotiation that arose at London Constitutional Conference in London. Of course, I can't blame him. He was still in primary school at that time, so he cannot understand. Go back to the record. Before we went to that Constitutional Conference, the country was under a unity form of government led by Dr. Azikwe. And that was what caused the crisis after the motion for self-government. So when we got to that conference, Chief Aulo re-educated them, telling them that you cannot rule this country under a unity form of government. It was there Dr. Azikwe himself was converted to federalism. And when he was returning from that conference, you journalists go and check the Daily Times of 1954. On the return from London Constitutional Conference, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe at the airport, it was published in the Daily Times, declared federalism is imperative. Because all the areas of conflict were settled under that principle. That was what caused it. That was what it is. Of course, that's why I say when he doesn't know, he didn't bother to read. Of course, you have to be educated to know all these things. It's unfortunate. That's a problem. So if he has read, if he has been told, I often refer to it. You are in your life, Abi.
Yes.
I often refer to my interview. I say if Buhari doesn't, if Buhari Adebanjo, or all those who pretend not to understand what is structuring, they should go back to independence constitution. And I said that is constitution agreed to by the founding fathers. That is why you should pick up everything that I'm talking about, or everything you want to ask about. That was what we agreed to, that gave every region and the autonomy on every subject. The functions of the federal government was settled under the subject given to the federal government. And all other things that are not allotted to the federal government was assigned to the states. That was what was going on. And thereafter, there was competition. Chief Aulo established the free education in the Western region. He built the Liberty Stadium. Ahmadu Bello built Ahmadu Bello Stadium. He built the University of Ife. Ahmadu Bello built Ahmadu Bello University. Okpara built the agricultural project and all that. The Suka University. It was a competitive thing peacefully, which does not devoid of having any differences be settled according to the Constitution.
Okay, Chief Adebanjo, now you are advocating for a return to the 1963 Constitution. Currently, Nigeria has 36 states and the FCT. You have 36 governors, 109 senators, 360 reps, and all that. How possible is it for Nigeria to return to that structure that time? How realistic is it?
The state you are talking of is under this constitution, Abi.
Yes.
Do you know our own contention? Our contention and that constitution is a fraud. We didn't make it. And Buhari has not denied it. Malawi can't deny it. Adebanjo, the professor there, cannot deny it, that we didn't make it. I have made the several assertions. That's a constitution of the northern element in the army that was finally introduced by General Salam. He's still alive. Let them come and deny that that is not so. Then we begin from there. We say this constitution is not ours. When you say 36 states, what did the yardstick of the states? Where they made more states in the north than the south, more local government in the north than the south. And they now say the basis of the local government they created arbitrarily will be the basis of distributing revenue. That is the basis of the crisis. So all these things is embedded in the constitution. And that's why I say, before you can get peace, before you can make any progress, you must change this constitution. Which Buhari ignorantly says is not negotiable. Who negotiated what we are doing with? You journalists should help us. He said it's not negotiable because is that the terms of the agreement? When we have independent, we say this constitution is the rule of the beast and the passion that altered not. My dear, don't think in the backward way that this government is thinking. We have moved beyond that. The constitution we are disputing, you argue from that. That those who are advocating for going back to 1963 constitution say, the one you are ruling us with, the one you bind us with, we don't know about it. It's like when you say they are amending the constitution in the National Assembly. And I ask the question, is the National Assembly not the product of the constitution that is fraudulent? How can you say a product of the fraud will amend the fraud? Oh, there are many lawyers and I'm sure one show in Christ and professor in the country. Not all of us didn't go to primary school. So people who don't understand and don't want to learn, and when you have a quota system, SAN, and the Attorney General, you can never go ways. All these things can be found out. I have made all this assertion. And I've challenged Adesina, Adebanjo, and Lai Mohammed to deny all this and accuse me of fake news. They cannot. You cannot be ruling us with the rule of the tongue. And those of us who fought for independence, under democracy, we keep quiet. No, it did not work. And in 2021, Buhari telling me that the Nigerian constitution is not negotiable. What a borderness. What an insult. That is not the argument we made this forefathers. And I challenge you to say no. Who made this constitution? Is it ours? Let him dispute that. And you journalists, you must help us to educate those who don't know. Don't change the narrative. Well, the moment you say you want to say, oh, you want to break the country. All that is out of ignorance. Even those who came into office through advocating for federalism like Adebanjo, Tinubu, Oshoba, Akode. You remember when they now came into office? under restructuring. They now say restructuring is not their priority. Adebanjo is now telling us there are many news to restructuring. Which one are they talking of? And you don't ask them. The restructuring they put in the manifesto of APC, which one is that? The restructuring El-Rufai recommended in 2018, which one is that? The restructuring Buhari agreed with Bakari when he contested election with him in 2011, which one is that? Bakari is saying loud and clear that it was restructuring and agreed with you before I contested election with you. You, president, you have not taken up the president over that. Bakari said it loud and clear. Then how can you say you don't understand restructuring? Is that not the basis on that which contested election? And you cannot question both Buhari and all the ignorant politicians in the cabinet there and direct them to their manifesto. If they don't know the restructuring, which restructuring did they put in their manifesto? Or have they denied that? Journalists, you are not doing your job because you don't want to be closed down.
Wow, that's a huge indictment.
Very much.
We have been writing.
I have been indicting you. I don't hide this at all. You are not the journalist of the Abacha era who said it as it was. But those who are bold at that time to pay the penalty, you are not prepared to. You are not prepared to publish and be damned. That is your tradition.
Wow. The punch has always been on the side of the people.
You have been trying. You are one of those who fought the debate. You have been trying. But not as before. You yourself, you know what I'm talking about. The man has cowed everybody down. The IT was publishing something, said, I closed it down, fine, heavy. So, channel, be careful. Around you, be careful. He said, we're going to close down one newspaper. So, when you be careful, a lot of time when your people bring interview from didn't you edit it out of it? Oh, the government would like to hear this. You are not helping the people at all.
We're trying.
You are trying. I admit very much. In fact, when the crisis was there in the Abacha days, it was the point that stood its ground. When other people chickened out. And because they chickened out, don't let us go to the other side.
So ahead of 2023, Chief Adebanjo, the election is taking place exactly 17 months from today. 17 months from today, we're going to have a president-elect based on the timetable INEC has given to us. What do you think Nigerians should look out for in a candidate? Because we've seen now that so many...
I don't believe in 2023, so don't waste your time. I don't believe under the president in security position in the country, killing here, kidnapping there, raping there, all over the country. You want to have an election. Have we got a country now? I ask you. Now,
Nigeria can never get better until it's been disintegrated. That is what we are calling for, the disintegration of this very contraption. May Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to bless us with the Mazi Kanu. May Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to strengthen us with the Mazi Kanu. May Chukwu Okike Abiyama continue to bless and strengthen everyone that is genuinely fighting for freedom in the contraption called Nigeria. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, east, west, north, south. It doesn't matter your religion. If you are genuinely asking for freedom, you shall surely receive freedom. Do not relent in your effort. Continue to fight. It doesn't matter what they do. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Ududua is here. Every indigenous tribe will be free. Thank you so much for watching. And remember blessed. Bye-bye. See you again on the next video.